That's right, after an almost 4-year hiatus, Logo Remaking 101 is back. And yes, it also confirms that a 7th installment of classic Logo Remake Party is slowly but surely in the works.
Finally!
2024 marks the 10th anniversary of not only this channel, but also the first ever classic Logo Remake Party, so I'm doing my best to avoid skipping a year like I did in 2023. Speaking of anniversaries, this episode of Logo Remaking 101 is in celebration of one that is 10 times bigger. 100 years of Columbia Pictures. Yes, whether it's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Storm Widow inside your mom's purse, there should be at least one film from this legendary studio that is among your favorites. So, in honor of Columbia's roots, Classic Logo Remake Party 7 will include my interpretation of the very first version of the studio's famous Torch Lady from 1928. Of course, this isn't the first time I'm drawing the Torch Lady. I previously drew her for the transitions in my Sony Pictures Home Entertainment logo ranking, and for Classic Logo Remake Party 5, she was featured in my remake of the 1995 Columbia TriStar television logo. However, this will be my first time I've recreated her solo, without having to be accompanied by, in the words of Paul from Mad About You, the stupid horse with the wings. Alright, let's get right into how I made my old school style Columbia Pictures logo remake. Obviously, work has to begin with the main attraction, the Torch Lady. She was designed in Krita, my current art/2D animation program which I've used for the previous remake party in 2022. It's by far the best open source drawing software based on my experience. First, with the original reference photos pasted next to my canvas, I sketched the Torch Lady in a way that's both borderline with some realistic proportional details and more cartoony in line with my default art style. Several edits and refinements are done to the sketch as I go along, whether it's using the selection tool to adjust her hands or darkening the rough outline to form a clearer image. Eric Goldberg, famous Disney animator, calls the latter technique tying down in his episode of Sketchbook on Disney+. After sketching the Torch Lady, I moved on to clean up her outlines on a new layer. You'll also notice that I've decided to have her nose point to the right instead of the left. Next, it's time to color her. Yes, most of you who are familiar with seeing this early Columbia Torch Lady logo on stuff like the classic Three Stooges sorts are primarily comfortable with seeing it in plain old black and white. But a colorized version does exist. Whether these are the original paint's natural colors or artificial results that'll make Ted Turner smile is beyond me. But after I colored and shaded the Torch Lady, on top of coloring much of her outlines to evoke some more depth to the illustration, I added a solid black layer on top of my design and set the blending mode to color to get an idea of what she'll look like in her monochrome state. Once I'm all done with designing the Torch Lady, I create the background, which consists of solid black with a subtle texture blended in to give off some old film feeling before we even add the film grain filter and the composition, which we'll get into in the second part of this demonstration. The last thing I added to my Torch Lady project file in Krita was an animation layer for the primitive style flicker and white effect coming from the torch. In total, there were 5 frames drawn for the effect, which will be exported as a PNG sequence that I will manually time out during the final composition stage. So with that, here's our beautiful Torch Lady ready for some limited animation action. In the next part, I'll show you how I designed the logo's text, and more importantly, how I got to bring everything together in this After Effects alternative program. Until then, hope you enjoyed this grand return of Logo Remaking 101, and for sure you must be hyped for another classic Logo Remake Party coming soon. Please give this video a like if you had a great time learning, subscribe so you won't miss the second part of this lesson, hit the bell to get notified, and leave a star emoji in the comments to confirm that you watched this video until the very end. Thanks to everyone who's sticking around within these last 10 years, and take care.